guess it says preparing. 3, 2, 1. I guess we are on. How does it get any better than that? Wow, this is a late night meeting with one of my favorite people in the world, Christiaan Del Rosario. Hi, Christiaan.
Hello, how are you? Welcome. Hello from Dallas, Texas.
From Dallas, Texas. You have been traveling today, right?
Yeah, I got here about an hour ago from California.
I had you starving first, right? I had you starving. I had you starving.
Yeah, so I had to eat some lunch real quick.
Oh, it's lunchtime over there.
Yeah, it's about well, it's a little bit past. It's about 4 o'clock, so I had a late lunch. Yeah.
So we're about, going to bed in Europe. It's like 10:45 in Belgium.
Okay.
We are past our wine and beer, and
I'm keeping you up late.
I've been waiting for you all day long.
Well, I hope it's worth it.
It is. So thank you so much for having accepted this invitation
You're welcome.
to share something else with people watching us than what they are seeing all over the world right now, like bad news and a lot of heavy stuff. How should I say, I'm already blessed to have you here because I've been watching you, like for a while now. When did we meet for the first time, Christiaan?
That's why I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Yeah, I'm stalking you. I confess, I'm stalking
you. It's like the song.
Yeah.
I think first time I went to Belgium was, I can't even remember, to be honest, if I met you in Belgium or if I met you in Orlando.
We met several places. We met in Belgium, we met in Orlando, we met in Romania. Did we meet in Romania as well?
Yeah, well, the first time we met, that's what I'm saying. I can't remember whether it's Orlando or Belgium, but I believe I started going to Belgium in 2014.
Wow.
I think, yeah.
And I met you in a professional setting, let's call it like this. You were taking professional pictures, like corporate style professional pictures of people. And then from that moment on, I kind of stalked you and your creations kind of all over the world and your ninja team.
Yes. Well, basically, I'm always working. So, most people meet me
while working. So, okay, people don't know you. I didn't tell them anything about you. It's just an invitation to see life through a different lens, yours. Okay. So what is your work, Christiaan? Who are you? And what animates you in life?
Well, you kind of like gave him a little clue there. When you say lens, I'm a photographer, so I do a lot of traveling with my work. For those who have been, for those who I've met and I've connected with in either Facebook or Instagram and all the social media platform, know that I love to travel and I love photography and I love animals. These are the three things that make me tick, So in everything I do, I try to like incorporate these three passions of mine: traveling, animal, and photography. So if I can do all these three things all at the same time, if I can feel in that need for me to absorb that passion within me, then I'm a happy person. I'm a happy camper. So I travel quite a bit, and obviously during the COVID year of 2020, everything kind of stopped. Everything was on a halt. So I kind of got me thinking about what I did, and it's also a good opportunity because I got to spend time at home finally. Because I'm never really home. So in a way, it's a good thing because I'm like, oh my God, this has been a long time since I stayed home.
So okay. So what is home for you?
Well, I lived in California, in Los Angeles, but this year, in January, I actually moved to Florida. I moved to West Palm Beach in Florida. So from the West Coast of the United States all the way to the East Coast. So it really, it was a pretty big decision. It was a pretty big move to do that, but I'm pretty happy. So it's been 8 months. Florida is closer to Europe. I go to Europe all the time and Africa, and being in Florida, I think it's closer. But then what ended up happening is I have to like fly back to California to go everywhere else because I have to drop my dog off.
Because
so it's the same thing.
Yeah, and actually you just told me that you dropped her off before you came to Dallas, and I was like, yeah, where is she? Where is she? Because normally I'm watching you and see all these pictures with her, and you were with her today. Yeah. So I was like, where's the dog?
Yeah. So she's always with me, and 2 days ago we left Florida, flew her to California because I'll be gone for about 3 weeks. Starting here in Dallas. So she's better off there because she has, that's where she grew up basically, and she's very comfortable there. And so it's best for her to be there.
So let me ask you one question. How did you discover what were these 3 passions of yours that they were fulfilling you? I mean, did you always have this idea that, okay, I love animals, I love pictures, and I love traveling, and I would like to combine them? Or how did it all start? Have you always been a photographer? Have you always seen life through a lens? Or is it something like,
No, not really. I think it's something that developed through the years, and each one of them came in at a certain point of my life. And as growing up, I would watch TV shows, travel shows. I'm like, I want to go there. I want to go there. I want to go there. And then every time I travel, I just feels great because, I learn more in traveling than in school, to be honest. I learn a lot, meeting a lot of different people from different cultures. I've always said it's the antithesis to ignorance. So, when I look back and if I really evaluate it, I know for sure that I've learned more from traveling than what I've learned from school. Not that school is not important, it is, but I'm just saying that traveling like really teaches you worldly things that school can never teach. As far as photography, I ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted, and I've always been interested in art. So I started with sketching. As a kid, I would draw, I would sketch, faces on pencils, and so there's always this like artist in me. But then growing up, going to school, when I wanted to become I wanted to study fine arts in college, but going out of high school, everyone, my counselors, my teachers were telling me, this is back in the Philippines because that's where I went to school and I grew up, and everyone was telling me that there's no money in fine arts. So you should do computers, you should do engineering, telecommunications, which I did. But eventually 2 years later of college, I'm just like, this is not for me. So, and then I did some management work, which I enjoyed, but it's not my passion. So that kind of came about after, I think in 2005, 2006. When I discovered digital photography. So I had my first digital camera, and I was just like, wow, you take the picture and then you see it right away. Like, this is amazing. So it kind of reignited that artist in me. Digital photography did. And that's when I discovered photography, and I started to dabble in it, played with it, and I just found myself enjoying it. And yeah, and then animals. I've had my first dog when I was 5 years old, and there was a very short time in my life when I didn't have a dog because it was so painful for me when I lost my first dog. I've had him since I was 5, And I think I had him until I was 12, so for 7 years, and then we lost him. And it was so hard for me, you're young and you don't really know how to deal with loss. And so for like a few years, I avoided getting even like, I avoided looking at dogs. I avoided trying to get attached to dogs. But then when I moved to the US, I got reintroduced to it. And then since then, I've always had loved dogs. And then I went to Africa and I just realized, animals make me happy, and helping animals really make me happy. And so these three things started at different points in my life, but to be honest, it's only in the last 2-3 years that I've really kind of like put everything in paper, that I actually kind of like had the chance to actually think and sit down. Okay, what makes me happy? So these three things like really stood out. And then I said from that point on that everything I do, I'm going to try to incorporate just three things, because I know that if I do that, it's like, I'm living my life. I'm living the life that I want to live. And so far, I've been doing it for the last, I would say, 10 years. So it's been great.
Well, we can see that in your pictures. I mean, I've been watching them like over the years, and what you have been presenting to the world, and there are two things that come up in my world. First, there's this generosity of spirit. You always share what you see, and you see it so beautifully that it's kind of uplifting the whole world. I mean, you see a picture from you, like, people have seen some of your pictures in my graphics that I use for my work. And they're like those beautiful flowers that you take with your camera, and everybody's asking, where is he taking those pictures?
With my phone.
With your phone. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, that. And they are so vibrant and so uplifting. And I always say that it's not the object, it's not the camera, it's who's behind the camera that sees things in a different way. This is what makes your picture so special, to my opinion. And then there's also another thing. Every time you post something, there is this educational side to it. Nothing forced, nothing pushy, nothing. But it's this presence of there's more than meets the eye. Can you say more about this? I remember you posted like recently the 4 cheetahs, like the mama and the 4 cheetahs.
The cubs,
Yeah. And you were also explaining a bit about what you're taking a picture of, because for the untrained eye, it can be, wow, beautiful picture, but there's a whole lot behind it. And then you were posting pictures from the Great Migration, like the bulls in the water and the crocodiles. I guess they were crocodiles or alligators.
The crocodiles and the wildebeests.
Yeah, the wildebeest. And it was like, wow, that's really powerful to capture, and also to present it to the world in it, how should I say, in a raw way, but also something that, triggers in you something about questioning yourself. How are you living your life? So can you say more about this educational side of your pictures?
So, it really didn't start that way. In the beginning, when I started doing social media, I would just like randomly post pictures without an explanation. Sometimes I would just say where I took it, right? I would check in, and for example, I'm in Turkey. Okay, then you see a bunch of photos from Turkey. And then, as the years went by, people asked me, I noticed that every time I post, people would ask me questions about the pictures. And then it just kind of evolved from that. And then I realized that people engage more in the photographs, even though the photos are really nice and they love it. I noticed that they really engage much more when you say something about the place, a little story about, different things, a little where you took it, a little story about how you took it, why you took it, the story behind it, the history behind a place. It's like in Africa, for example, like one of the things I do is I like to inform people about, the life of the animals in the wild, because there's so much. I've been doing safaris for I started in 2013, so I've done a lot.
This is kind of the next level of just taking a picture and educating people. You take them onto safaris, and this is
exactly.
this is an upgrade, if you want, of the role. You're not just the photographer,
Yeah.
you're also the mentor somehow.
Yeah, because I think if people have an understanding of what they're looking at, I think it adds a deeper dimension to it. It becomes much more meaningful. And in many ways, even though they were not there yet, like in Africa, it feels like they were there. I mean, I get this all the time. I feel like I was there because of the things you wrote, and in combination with the photos. And that really makes me happy, because it makes what I do, I think, for me, very worthwhile. It does affect people's lives. It has a very positive effect on their lives, makes them happy, brings them joy, uh, gives them understanding of animals and travel. And so I decided, um, I've been wanting to, like, so I think on the third safari that I did in Africa, I realized that, everyone should experience safari at least once in their life. And I had this idea that, with my work, and I should actually take people, and I've been asked, when are you going next? Can I go with you? People ask me this all the time. I'm like, okay, why don't I just do a group and take people, and at the same time add something deeper into the experience of just going to Africa. Because if I could actually teach them photography and have them come up with great images from their trip, it really does makes it much more meaningful. I've seen a lot of people go to Africa, do a safari, and they come home with, they take some pictures with their phone, and even though you can take really good pictures with your phone now, they just don't do it right. And it's just like the whole trip was a waste, because for me, half of the whole experience for me is to share it with the world. So if I'm able to share it with the world, then people see it, and it just makes me happy. So now I'm taking people to Africa every year, to do safari with me, and you are going.
Yeah, I am going. Oh my God, I am going.
Yes.
I have no idea how I'm lying, because the very first time I saw pictures of you taking people to Africa, I was like, one day I'm going with this guy. I already knew you. I already knew your energy. I already knew how you somehow work. And I said, I'm going.
Yeah.
Now, finally, actually, in 11 months from now, we are going together to a safari in Serengeti. Oh my God. I'm a dilettante when it comes to pictures, but I know that there is so much more in it. It's not necessarily about me learning how to take pictures, but it's the transformative side of this trip that's kind of like shouting out in me, like in every cell, the first time I told you, well, maybe I would like to go with you. Remember the first Facebook message? It was like, no, it cannot be. Well, it can. It can. It's all about a choice. But you said something.
That's how it starts, right?
It's
That's how it starts, with that intention. You planted the seed, and that's how everything starts. That's how it started for me. At some point you gotta, like, plant the seed and then watch it grow. And
yeah, and you never know who's going to be touched or impacted by the seeds that you planted.
Yeah.
How many years back when you started photography? I mean, I guess it's kind of, how should I say, overwhelming. Not sure whether it's the right word, but when you have this response of people, unknown people reacting to your picture, what does that do to you?
Yeah, it started out as, I just want to show off. Just sort of like, I just want to show people, hey, look, I can take pictures, and I can, like, really, I can create beautiful images, and look at this, and so kind of how it started. But really now it has, like, really morphed, and it evolved into something. I feel like I have, like, this responsibility to give, not only provide experience and, like, really fun for people, but a life experience that they will never forget. And I travel a lot. I've been to Europe. I have been in almost every continent. But Africa is the continent that really changes you. you know, especially in the safari, when you see animals, how they live their life, how they try to survive. You know, that song from The Lion King, The Circle of Life. It never made more sense. It will never make sense
until
as
you've
much
been there.
as until you've been there. I know everyone thinks they understand it and you kind of have an idea of it, but when you get there, when you set foot in Africa, in a safari in the Serengeti, and you see it happening in front of your eyes, it will give you the chills. It's like, oh my God. And now I know exactly what Elton John means, you know, it is a circle of life. You know, you must never take more than you give, he said in the song.
And this is
You
something
know, I'm
that
just like, wow.
there's something that I would like to touch upon with you, because I already mentioned that you're a very generous being in whatever you do. Whoever you look at or whatever you touch, there is something greater coming out. And I know that part of this program is also to give back to whatever Africa offered you. Can you say more about that?
So, one of the things I told you I love animals, and nothing makes me happier than helping animals. And also, I want to give back to Africa. You know, Africa has really given me so much joy and happiness. But the sad truth is there are problems. You know, there are issues that needs to be addressed in Africa, such as poaching. You know, a lot of elephants, beautiful, beautiful, magnificent animals are being killed for a few dollars, and the rhinos and everything. So one of the ways that I wanted to give back is 10% of the profits, of all the profits that I do and I make when I do these tours with people, aside from providing them this great experience, I want them to feel that, okay, listen, yeah, going to Africa is not cheap. It's one of the most expensive vacations you can ever take because it's not easy. A lot of things needs to be arranged in Africa. It's just complicated. But at least a part of the money that you spend goes to like really good cause into giving back. So I have pledged 10% of the profits of everything I make goes to helping out animal causes. So one of the organizations that I will donate money to is the Sheldrick Foundation, the elephant sanctuary in Kenya. So what they do such great work because they rescue all these orphan baby elephants, because if their parents get killed or they become orphaned because of poaching, because their mother or father, their mother usually gets killed because of the ivory, they save them and then they try to raise them there in an orphanage in Kenya. And the whole goal is to get them reintroduced into the wild when they're old enough. And when you see these baby elephants there, I mean, the way they take care of them, the way they love them, it's just amazing. The work that they do is just spectacular. I've been there a few times, and then from there I want to continue on with with other animals like rhinos, and then saving the orangutans in Indonesia and the gorillas in Rwanda. And eventually I hope that eventually I will be able to like really contribute to all of these animal organizations because they do such great job in helping them. So it's my own way of of helping. So that's kind of like my goal. That's what I wanted to do. So everyone who comes to the safari knows that aside from the fact that they're having a great time, they're having this great life experience, what they're doing is actually also contributing to the beautiful animals that we are blessed
sometimes people would like to contribute, but sometimes they don't kind of get clear on what contribution could be. So thank you for offering this opportunity to be part of the ones who are contributing to the world, not only taking but also receiving and gifting back. And I know, are there still seats available, or can we add a link or not?
Well, both groups, August and September, are sold out, so everything's already been booked. I have a waiting list, so everyone who are interested still to do is, I put them on a waiting list. So if some things happen and sometimes people drop out of the list, and I will offer the openings
first
to
come,
those who
first
want
served.
first come first serve. Yeah. So even like with you made it to the because I only take 12 people per group. So the very first people who showed interest, I offered it to them first. So yeah, but I currently I have about 10 people in the wait list.
Wait,
and
don't give up hope. Just sign up on the waiting list and
yeah,
then
yeah.
ask for the universe to work it out for you.
And there's a possibility if I have enough people, if there's enough people and the dates can work out, I might open up another group. So if there's enough on the wait list and everyone's okay in going on a certain date, aside from the days that we already did, then I might open up a group. So it's good to have, right now I have 10. All I need is like maybe 5 more, and then I can open up another group. So, and
So how does it get any better than that? I mean, hello, hello. Universe is calling.
Yeah.
But Christiaan, I know I've been keeping you like on a, you're there to work. It's lunchtime, but I still have one question. Please tell us the anecdote with your first picture that you took and you were so amazed. Do you remember when you were talking to us about the tail of your dog?
What do you mean? Like his tail?
Yeah, when you started taking pictures, you were telling us that the first pictures, kind of the first pictures, were you were walking with your dog and you were taking a picture of your dog walking.
Yeah. So that's how it started. So I told you in 2005, I had a friend who bought a digital camera, and he said, "Oh, Christiaan, take a look at this." You take a picture and then you see it like on the back of the camera. I'm like, wow, this is amazing, So I bought my own, and then during that time I had a full-time job, and then on the weekends I would just take pictures of my dogs. So they're like my first models. So I would take a picture. Every time I walk them every morning. All I do is just take pictures of their butt and their tail, insects, flowers, whatever we come across. So this is how I practice my photography skills. So that's how it started.
Okay, so do you ever judge those first pictures, or what do you feel when you look at them?
I I look at them because I love my dogs, but the quality of the pictures, if I look, I cringe, like, oh, I can't believe I can't believe I even put it out there in the internet, but then, you start to realize this is part of your evolution, as an artist, and it's part of your history. And, some of them I have taken some time to redo them because I just could not stomach looking at them. But then some I didn't, because it kind of shows how I kind of like progressed as an artist, So
what's the next step, Christiaan?
The next step really is like, I really want to take after Africa. The plan is I kind of started this before, but it didn't happen. But after Africa, I want to start taking people to other places like Bali, Rome in Europe. Where my favorite place is to photograph. So hopefully, places that I love to photograph, that I think I can like really share, my skills for those who are photographers, who loves photo, or just photography lovers. They don't really need to be photographers, because, just like in Africa, even if you're not a photographer, I'm there to take your picture. So you'll come home with great pictures, So yeah. So in fact, half of the people who goes to the group, with the group, half of them are not photographers. They're usually like, usually they're like husbands or wives, of the
along.
They drag them along, but it's a good place to be dragged along. But so that's the next step. I really do want to I want to keep it like I want to make it a regular thing where I will just travel, like what I said, I get to incorporate travel, photography, and animals, and yeah, so I want to take people to Bali, Tokyo, and a week, and we take pictures, we see beautiful sights, and I get to coach them in photography.
That's like, yeah, that puts a smile on my face, like around the head.
Yeah.
For those who are watching us, what would be, like one shot of wisdom that you would like to leave with them?
For those who have animals and who have dogs, be the person your dog thinks you are. I don't know if that makes sense, but every time I come home and my dog sees me, I feel like I'm the most special person in the world. Like, for them, you are the greatest person, the best person, the most caring person, the most loving person. So I aspire to be that person that they think I am.
Wow.
That's
now
all I can say.
I have a dog too, so I
don't want to disappoint them.
I subscribe. You never want to disappoint your dog.
Yeah.
Wow.
Roxy thinks I'm the best dad in the world. So if I could live up to that title, the best dog dad, then I'm happy.
Cool. And how does it get any better than that? Thank you so much.
Oh,
I love talking
this
to
has
you.
Been fun.
Well, it's been a long time, a bit too long time. So have fun in Dallas and talk to you soon, especially arranging the trip. Thank you, everybody, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.